that when you have an emotional experience, when you have an impactful experience, if you don't resolve it, if it doesn't come to a place of harmony, it's going to sit somewhere in your field until you resolve it. It's going to sit somewhere out in this massive experience of who you are, in this kind of dense area of your energy, because it's waiting or it's needing attention. So those things, those unconscious things, are the things that this process of the why is about. So where it goes is going to be deeply personal. And you'll know the experience because you'll kind of as you're saying, like we were doing in the other exercise, you get to this point where you say, why? Okay, why do I feel that way? And then your answer is, oh. And when you recognize that thing in you, whether it's a feeling or an experience or an emotion or a thought or any number of those things, it resonates in a way that causes a sort of a woof, like I don't know what the word to use here. It's just a moment of, you go, oh, and it makes sense, and all of a sudden dots connect and things click, and it's like you brought another piece of yourself to the game, and suddenly you have an understanding of yourself in a way that you never did before. And then you can look at the fancy red car and go, well, is that still what I desire? And it may or may not be, but the desire for it will change, because now you understand what drove it, and you may look at it and go, oh, that's not as attractive as I thought it was. What I really like is that. Or what I'm really feeling is, now that I have this piece of me back, I don't even need that. I can take this and start working with it. I can take this new piece and begin to expand on that. So it's, again, that's why I say none of it is bad or wrong. You can get there either direction. You go get the red car. The point of getting the red car is to continue to stimulate that memory. Well, we get caught up in the physicalness of the red car and don't pay attention to that as much. But that's still the driving consciousness, is red, 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 red. So you're stimulating that in yourself continually until you can get to the point of recognizing why that's being stimulated.
Right.
And if you get so caught up in the thing, you lose track of why you're being attracted to it to begin with.
A place where a lot of us have experience with this is with food. We talk about Mexican food, but also I'm thinking ice cream. Yeah. I'm guessing we've all had the experience of, I'm craving ice cream now, and we know it's to comfort ourselves, or I just I want this boost of energy or whatever it is. But when there's things called comfort foods, and we turn to them because whatever, we're sad or frustrated, whatever it is, we need to change our emotional state, and we know eating certain food will do it, or for some people it's going shopping and buying shoes or clothes or whatever will do it. So most of us are aware of experiences where we're seeking to gratify ourselves, make ourselves feel better by consuming or shopping. And I think the point that we're making here is those actions won't satisfy the need in a lasting way. It'll be more of a Band-Aid, and then the need will still be there. And once you tune into what you're satisfying, there's lots of ways to take care of it.
Yeah, and that's really huge and really important, because the other thing to recognize is that, like, the shopping is a perfect example. When you don't acknowledge what drives you to shop, when you don't understand the why of what drives that, then you continue to create that. And that's how you continue to create the shopaholic experience. That's how you would create the hoarding experience. That's how you would create an energy. You create a whole different dynamic in your energy system that begins to crave that thing, thinking it's satisfying something, and it's not. It just adds to it and keeps it on this treadmill. So, and when I say treadmill or the hamster wheel, the hamster wheel spins, right? It comes back to the same point continually. So that same point is, every time you're triggered, you're going to go shopping. Every time you have a feeling that's associated with the thing you don't understand about your why, you're going to go shopping, or you're going to eat, or you're going to do whatever it is that you have trained yourself to do, rather than stop and say, why am I craving that? Why do I want to eat that? Why do I, and people will go, who wants to go through all of that? Who wants to deal with, all of that? Well, maybe you don't, But so what you're going to deal with instead is the continuous unconscious behavior of shopping and eating all the time. And you'll never break the cycle. You'll just continue to mold it and evolve it and continue to expand that behavior as a way of avoiding the feeling.
So fundamentally, asking the question why makes us conscious of our choices.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you can't shop. That's the thing that you got to understand is it's not about looking at this as have and have not. Because the funny thing is if, like I said before, when you reach that place of clarity, the shopping doesn't matter anymore. So now that the shopping doesn't matter anymore, do you still want to go shopping? Now that the shopping is not charged, is it something you really want to do? And it may be because you may really need a pair of shoes for work, and so now you can go buy a pair of shoes for work. But the clarity of that intention is not about shopping. It's about shoes for work. So now all of your attention is where you want it to be because you've clarified the why, which is I'm shopping for whatever your why was. Well, I'm not doing that anymore, but I do need a pair of shoes. So now I can put all my energy into buying the best possible pair of shoes that I really want, that's going to be comfortable, that are going to serve the purpose of whatever I'm buying them for. It becomes you peel away all of the distracted energy so that you can focus on what it is you really want to accomplish. And in that moment, the pair of shoes is important. You got to have shoes. You got to have shoes to leave the house and go to work. Okay, cool. But it becomes an easy process. It becomes a simple process, and not a thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And sometimes people will choose to do the shopping in order to meet the emotional need because it works and they know it and it's familiar and they see nothing wrong with it. And there is nothing wrong with it as long as people are aware of what they're doing, what need they're meeting.
Yeah. And I think ultimately that's a trick with this whole conversation, is that there is no wrong way here. This is the reason that we're having this conversation, is it's just another avenue that we can choose to take to become more conscious, to become more clear, and to not be motivated by unconscious motivation, but to allow ourselves to become more conscious of what we are motivated by. Because one, it could be that the thing you're motivated by doesn't ultimately serve you. And so becoming conscious of that enables you to completely break down that behavior pattern, completely break down that emotional cycle, completely release the generational aspects of the energy that may be involved, because you could be operating from a continuing generational influence that has been passed down over and over and over and over again. And it's how it operates in your psyche. But the minute you understand the why, it releases you and everyone else that's attached to that belief all the way back through your history, because that energy is no longer necessary. And you are the one who got to free that energy because you became conscious enough to say, I don't like being in this space, or I don't want to be in this space in this way. How can I change it?